Hello everybody and welcome back to our weekly Sunday Bitcoin stream. Finally, we have some exciting price action occurring, meaning we have finally broken out of this range here that we've been pretty much stuck in for the past few months. So now that we have actually taken this low, it has invalidated some counts on the higher time frame and the lower time frame, which means there's more clarity here. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss the counts that have been invalidated here, but I want to go ahead and zoom out to the larger turn time frame to discuss this. So in the longer turn time frame, we have one bearish count and we had two bullish counts. One of those bullish counts were invalidated, and it was the ultra bullish count, which was the 1-2 1-2 1-2 scenario, where this is a 1-2 and then a 1-2 and then a 1-2. Since we have taken this low, this now exceeds the timing of completion for this degree, which is greater than this one right here. So this ultimately means that this count is no longer valid, and we're just going to go ahead and delete it. That remains with the last bullish count that we have, the one that we were mainly following. There's a different perspective. I have to take a look at it, but ultimately everything is still revolving around this base, this flat pattern. This is a shallow flat. Then we have more of a sharp flat. It's a regular type of flat, but it's sharp in nature, as it didn't expand beyond the origin of the A as it did with this flat pattern. Ultimately, we have found support right at a 236, 272, which is the normal first target for a wave 4. In between, this is how I'm looking at this leg right here. We have a shallow pattern right here for a 2. Then we have a sharp wave 4. And we have an extremely expansive strong wave 3 and extremely expansive strong wave 5. The only thing that's questionable about this is the strength of this wave 1. That's the only thing that's really kind of questionable. Other than that, this is how I see things moving forward for a 5-wave impulse. A 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Afterwards, we'll look for a corrective retrace. Potentially, we'll find support at prior resistance, essentially, or moving up. Or this could correct into something more complex, where this becomes a W. Then we move up for an X, and we correct further for a Y. So anything's going to happen right here. It's a matter of first completing this last impulse for this wave 5 of this wave 1. Ultimately, timing-wise, we're going to look for this range here for the primary degree, because we are experiencing a primary wave 1. So this is our baseline here, and we're going to expect it to run until pretty much the end of the year here, November, end of the year. Target-wise, we'll get into this very soon on the lower time frames. But let's go ahead and discuss the the bearish count, which is something that we've all been aware of and we've discussed it. So the bearish count is, we have this as an A, and we have this as a B of a flat. Then we're working on a C for the flat, where ultimately we will take this low after we have taken this high. The ultimate liquidity grab, which is what flats are, expanded flats. Internally, this is counted the same way as we just shown. We have a shallow 2 into a sharp 4, very strong, expansive 3, very strong, expansive 5. It's just about this being a three-way move. So this is an A, into a B, into a C. That's it. As opposed to the bullish count, we're looking for one more leg up. But with this bearish count, we're saying this is it. This is now a pivot, and we're moving down. The only way I can really see this is a forced diagonal here for a wave 1. Another forced correction for a WXY for wave 2, because the timing of and the strength of that wave Y as compared to this W is just not proportionate or symmetrical. So it doesn't have great geometry there. So truly it is forced. It's just a matter of if we're going to continue to break down or not. We could retrace here for just a minor wave 2, where this is a 1, and this is another 2. Move down for 3, 4, 5, take up this 3. Then retrace for 4, then push down for 5 again. That's the only way I could see this continuing to move down here. Timing wise, we're going to go with the timing of completion for a primary degree. And just to showcase, you know, the prior primary degrees, we're going to do it like this as well. Do 2000. Let's get this one down here. It ended right here. This is the end of the A wave and the beginning of the B wave. Let's put this on the bottom. Now we're going to do the same thing to project the C wave. So here's the end of the B wave and the beginning of the C wave. Let's focus on the primary degree. So let's get rid of the lower time frames and the other higher time frames. And actually, let's get rid of the max, because as you can see, with the prior degrees, so with this A wave, it completed right within this high average zone. Well, pretty much right in the middle of the average, which is actually perfect, almost spot on for what we expect. And then when we come to the B wave ended somewhere right here around the high average. So we're going to look for some similarity in time for the C wave. We're going to be looking for it to end somewhere around here. And the way it's developing like this, I have to give it more time to flesh out, because it's not a straight drop at this time. It is kind of taking its time building away down there. So I do expect it to more dig into the higher average time of completion, potentially even into the max, where we'd have to look at an extra half a year potentially. But these are the counts that we're focused on the higher time frame now. On the lower time frame, let's go ahead and jump into that. Let's start with an invalidation, just like how we did with the higher time frame. So our invalidation was the fifth wave was, or the fourth wave was already in, which is right here. We had this as a completed 3-wave correction, and we were building a base up to go upwards for wave 5. Once we took this low, it was invalidated. So Only thing left to do is just delete it. Which brings us back to our bearish count. Now, there's a few different ways that I can see this. And it's arbitrary. It's a moot discussion because regardless, we're nearing the end of completion for this wave 4. It's all about how you want to count it internally, which does help on the lower time frames as well. But the bottom line is we're aware that this pivot is approaching here. Either it's already completed or you might have one more low. Personally, I do think it's completed. When we look at the variation of this structure, meaning we can call this an A wave, we can call this a B wave right here, which is what we have right here. And we can look at it like this, as a 5-wave structure down, as opposed to a B, C flat for a Y wave. So we could look at a little more of a simpler approach. It is a hot topic though, because some exchanges did take this, take the prior higher here, and some exchanges did not. Although it is negligible, it's like $50. So that is something with the futures market as well that can happen. So when it comes to something that negligible, I will allow this. I will see this as a 1 into a 2 into a 3, 4, 5, which provides more weight to this being completed right here. And that we are in a pivot and we're pivoting away now to take these highs. There's a lot of relative equals highs right here. We try to attack it once, twice, and then a third time. A lot of liquidity building up right here for it to take. Now, if we are in a pivot and we are moving upwards, once again, it's about managing the strength of this wave 5 for the expectations. And it really comes down to the strength of this wave 1. If we get something like this, which is something kind of what I'm kind of expecting, we're going to look for a moderate wave 5, like that. However, let me get rid of the variation as well. If we get a very, very strong wave 1, something like this, then we might have to look for a extended wave 5. Something like this. Once again, it really just depends on the strength of this wave 1 that we are potentially in right now. That's really going to be the key factor here in determining the strength of this wave 5 right here. If it's going to be more of a regular wave 5, or if it's going to be more of an extended wave 5. Timing-wise, we can also gauge our expectations for this wave 5 as well. Put this on the bottom to make it a little more clear. Take away the other degrees because they're not relevant, and focus more on the minor. So ultimately, we're going to be looking for price to stay within this area. Once again, it kind of depends if it's going to be extended. If it is extended, we got to give it time for it to really flesh out, which might take it pretty much into this zone if it is extended. If it's not an extended wave 5, and it's more of a regular wave 1, like a regular wave 5, then we're going to look for this area right here. We're going to look for it to be contained within this price action, or this timing of completion right here. Something like this. On the lower time frame here, I do think we might get one more push up and then a retrace here to truly build a base to move upwards and attack this high right here. Then we actually build another base to move higher. This is what I would like to see. It very well could be already moving up like this, even more impulsively. It could happen, but realistically, I do think it has one more low in it. Pretty much a return to equilibrium before we start moving higher here. Or even the golden fib. But it is exciting. Finally, we once again have broken this range. We're finally outside of this range right here. We deviated outside it, and as you can see, we deviated right back inside. We were accepted right back inside the range, which is another bullish clue as well. So we'll need to continue to monitor price. Once again, I really do think this low is in as of now from both perspectives. Both bullish perspectives here. The low is in from a structure perspective as well. Now it's about managing expectations for a move up. So in the Discord, I'll continue to update you guys on the micro turn timeframes as time continues to develop. And as always, if you guys have questions, then just feel free to ping me and I'll try to respond as quick as I can. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and also if you enjoy the content, just drop by the Discord and feel free to hang out with us. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend as always, and thanks for watching. I'll catch everyone next week.